Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Weather with Jonathan here, and there's a lot to talk about weather-wise across the country. We've got a large amount of ice waiting to happen across much of Arkansas, Tennessee, Texas, and southeastern parts of Oklahoma. So, we do have some ice storm warnings ranging from western Tennessee to central Arkansas to central western Arkansas into very northeastern Mississippi. And what's causing this is a ton of freezing rain. And that is going to continue for a while. We have about 4 rounds of this. And it is looking pretty concerning. Because as you can see right here, we have up to about half an inch of ice, or to any isolated spots near Little Rock, up to 3/4 of an inch, which is a lot. The sleet total doesn't look as bad, but the Canadian models are showing probably a catastrophic ice event, or at least they were, up to 3 inches of ice, the Canadian model show. But I would like to use the national blend of models because they create a more accurate of what all the models say. So they're showing up to about a half an inch. So that's like the average ice accumulations. Now the snow accumulations, not talking much snow wise, a little bit of snow maybe up here in the Rockies and stuff like that, and not much in the Midwest or anything. But there is, and if I take this out into future radar, you can actually see that we have a storm coming together. But this is too far out to cover. So this is your ice storm right here. And it's looking significant, but not the worst we've ever seen. And there's just going to be a massive cold dip from Canada that's going to reach into about Tennessee. And then we got this warm bubble, which is going to interact with the storm system from the west. Which before this storm and after the ice storm, it's going to be mainly weather's just going to be boring. And this storm actually that's coming together around the 8th actually does look pretty decent. We could have another big ice event maybe in the upper Midwest, and possibly even another snow event up here too. But there's also another thing that we might see is severe weather. Now I know this is too far to cover, so I'm only going over the basics because this is actually looking a little concerning. I mean, it's got pretty decent dew points, and that's going to cause a lot of convection, which means supercells will fire up instead of like a straight line wind. But the Cape shear also does look fairly decent, up to about 1,000 joules. But the wind shear in the atmosphere is gonna be pretty strong, fairly strong. So up to about 105 knots, which is pretty impressive. And this trough is negatively tilted. It swings negatively tilted around like Oklahoma, eastern Oklahoma. But the 850 meter millibar height dam doesn't it's showing like the shear with the storms, and it does look pretty decent, but that's a little too far. So, and it does look like another storm coming after that. And actually, this is on my birthday. This storm is also looking fairly significant, maybe. And it also does have dew points that are fairly present for convection, which means supercells can fire up instead of straight line wind. And then there's another one after that on Valentine's Day, which also looks a little concerning with the dew points. And these all do have shear. This one so far has CAPE values of up to about 1,600 joules down here in Texas. But yeah, so in all these other storms, I mean, they could be significant, but there's one storm that I'm worried about, and that is the one that is about to happen, and that is the ice storm. There's going to be one, then another one tomorrow, and then a third round of ice on the first. And this is going to result in very bad travel conditions and very bad conditions for driving. And yeah, this could easily lead to some power outages and anything like that. Now, the sleet, it isn't looking very bad, but the freezing rain total, it's definitely going to be bad in places like western Tennessee, central Arkansas, very northwestern Mississippi, and northern to western Texas or central Texas. Now, I think the more affected areas / cities will be in this area, like Memphis, Little Rock, Jonesboro, definitely Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin could get a little bit of it, maybe Oklahoma City, maybe a little bit of that, Wichita Falls, maybe. But this is all looking pretty decent, so it depends, because all of the models, they're showing some ice, and the National Blend of Models, like I showed you earlier, it just like mainly agrees with the GFS that we're gonna have probably a bunch of ice near Dallas and Memphis. So, yeah. And the snow, we're not talking big time. The snow doesn't look as bad. Snow totals, nothing down here for snow. But we could see some good snow up here in the Northeast, and definitely some in the Rockies. And Lake Superior actually is really getting it, because actually they do currently have a heavy freezing spray warning, which means that the lake is like getting smaller, and that there's ice freezing over because of all the cold temperatures. Because as you can see, there's heavy freezing spray warning, which means like the water is freezing, sort of, and it's frozen over. Also, because of the ice storm that's gonna happen, I wouldn't say it would be that significant, but it would be a significant ice storm. San Antonio, you're only on a winter weather advisory. Austin, winter storm warning. Dallas, winter storm warning. Little Rock, ice storm warning. Memphis, ice storm warning. So these purples over here, these are ice storm warnings, and all of these pinks are winter storm warnings. Now, The reason they have put these out, even though it's only just a light freeze and drizzle up here in like Missouri, Tulsa, Oklahoma, that area right now, that's because we have a round later today that's gonna affect this area, and the National Weather Service issued these because they're bracing themselves for tomorrow and the next day after that. So, yeah, they haven't issued anything bad. The fire weather also for the plains is not very bad, but they said they might. But based on what it says down here, potential for critical fire weather will remain low this period. So anything could happen. And yeah, that's the end of the video. Bye. I hope you enjoyed.